Oh, there we go.
There you
Cool.
go. Cool.
Hey,
All right.
man, the last time we interviewed was like in a whole other dimension of reality.
Yeah, when was that?
And see, there you go. It was probably 16 or 17. I mean, it was well before the pandemic.
Oh, right. Okay.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
in the land of butterflies and honey before all this happened.
Right. Fall from grace. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so weird. It is so good though with this Zoom revolution to see you cats now. Like it's good to match the face and almost feels like we're having a cup of coffee.
Right. Exactly. I'm having a cup of coffee.
I
Yeah.
just finished a cup of coffee. It's
Mhm.
invisible because of the background, but it's there.
Oh,
So
that's hilarious. Oh, right. That's like a virtual background.
yeah.
This is virtual too. No, just kidding. This is my my
It's
messy
all virtual.
workspace.
It's
Yeah.
all virtual reality, as Jamiroquai said. So, um,
Yeah.
well, cool, man. It's great to catch up with you, and it's so good to see that the jazz community is pumping out new material after living through the whole pandemic era.
Yeah.
You
Um,
know?
I mean, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I mean, it obviously put a damper on, just live performances, and you know, artists, musicians, we just can't stop what we do. So we figured out different ways, but it's so good to be back. I mean, I'm really not interested in doing more like virtual live stream concerts and
Yeah.
and jamming with people via the internet, like um yeah, I'm happy to just be live in person with people making music again
And I
and with
think
live audiences. Yeah.
And I think if there was ever a confirmation of what you do as a musician and what we do as fans when we watch you, is that energy in the room, there has to be a vibration. There has to be a commingling. There's a communicative element that goes into it when it's done live. And I think that's the thing that probably I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, I love virtual. I want to go back. I want to do everything on Zoom." There's
Yeah.
not one person that said that,
No,
because
it's not better. Yeah.
it's not.
It's better than nothing. Better than nothing,
Yeah.
but it's not better. Yeah.
So, how do the crowds feel? Do they feel different? Has that feeling held true?
Yeah, I mean the crowds are the crowds. Yeah, sometimes they come, sometimes they don't, but they vary, of course. But it's always been. I don't feel like it's changed necessarily since the pandemic.
Okay.
People are coming out now. There's like, I mean, now we're starting to see more people wearing masks because there's another like wave of COVID.
Yeah.
Obviously, nowhere near as serious and severe. Like the amount of severe cases, is much lower than what it was.
Yeah.
What it was. So,
So,
so I don't know that it's keeping anyone in.
yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So natural bounce. So it it's not necessarily about the pandemic. I mean, obviously, I wrote a lot of the music during the pandemic. Some of it was written a little bit before, and it's with this band that I mean, I've had Rob Garcia 4 has been around since 2009, and Noah Preminger has always been a member in the group, and it's had some different bass players and different piano players. But this sort of incarnation of the band with Leo Genovese on piano and Kim Cass on bass, that had been kind of the regular lineup, I would say, since like 2018, definitely by 19. And we did some things, and then yeah, then the pandemic hit and everything shut down. But one thing that really sort of helped make this album come to be was getting a Jazz Road grant from South Arts. This organization called South Arts has they offer a number of grants, but one of them is called Jazz Road, and it sort of supports jazz bands to tour. So it's like you sort of line up the whole tour beforehand, and then you submit. So you're getting venues on board with letters of, gig offer letters, and hopefully it all comes through, and then it gets funded, and then you're able to do it, because they're not offering the amount that it would take to, say, to do a tour and pay for hotels and pay appropriate artist fees and all the travel expenses. So that's where the grant comes in. So fortunately, we got the grant to do a tour in September of 2021. So it was a pretty good time to tour, because it was still, the weather was still warm, people were outside. COVID was sort of had a little lull. It wasn't as severe, and a lot of people were vaccinated by then. And it was before the Omicron wave, which happened in that December.
Yeah.
So it was good. We had a great tour. We got to develop a lot of the music that is heard on the album, and then I wrote a couple more pieces, and then we went in the studio in April of that same year, and recorded this music. Um, yeah, and a lot of the music of what I wrote on this album, I wrote with these guys specifically in mind. Yeah, I mean, I can just say, like, each member, Noah, Leo, Kim, not only are they like a master of their instrument, they're play virtuosically on their respective instruments, but they have a lot of personality on their instruments. They have a certain character, very distinct sound and language to what they do. So that's really fun, and they have big ears, so they know how to play with people, and we know how to play with each other, and we've been doing it for a long time, and yeah, it's a really fun band to play with.
So what are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Oh, that's a good question. I hope they get surprise and delight and um, inspiration, um, maybe ideas. Just hopefully they listen, and they hear that okay, this is something I haven't really quite heard before, or they're doing something a little bit different than what I'm used to hearing. Um, yeah, and because that kind of thing has always been inspiring to me. When I hear bands, when I hear musicians play, and it's like, wow, it's like if I'm hearing a group play something, it's like, really haven't heard a group do that, or do
Yeah.
those particular sounds, or create that kind of energy or that kind of texture. It's inspiring to me. Um, and so yeah, so that's what I would hope for.
So now that we're back at it, now that musicians are back releasing material and performing and
Mhm.
all of that, has your approach changed, whether creatively or logistically, or how you are and operate as a musician? Has any of that changed since you've come back?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm just like glad to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like yeah. I don't know how much. I mean, obviously, life has changed a bit for everybody since the pandemic. Just being able to do more stuff at home, and virtual meetings, and all that kind of thing. Um, but my life as a musician, yeah, I think it's pretty much the same as before. Um, One thing has changed, that is both my kids are now in college, and away at college, and I feel like I just want to tour as much as possible, and
Yeah.
and yeah, and I'm about to leave on Sunday to go on tour with Noah Preminger's group in Europe.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so we're gonna do a
So,
little tour. Yeah.
and that's where I want to lead in. Where's the best place for folks to pick up the new album, live shows, learn about it, anything about your world? Where can they go?
Well, it's on all the main streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. other places too. They can buy it from the website, from the Fresh Sound Records website, um, and if they want a physical CD, uh, and um, and there are links on my website. There are links on my Instagram page, which is Rob Garcia Music, Facebook page, Rob Garcia Music One, um, and yeah, and there's also videos. So I don't know if this is not necessarily, well, I guess kind of with the pandemic, people have really upped their sort of video quality game. So, because everybody was making videos during the pandemic. So many studios just have cameras built in to their studio. So there's a camera on each instrument. And so I got all the footage from the studio recently. I mean, I had it for, whatever, a year and a half since April 21. I mean, April 22, April 2022. Um, and and just recently sort of put it together, put these multi-camera videos, and did the edits and made these videos. So on my YouTube channel, which is also at Rob Garcia Music, you can see 4 or 5 videos of songs from the album with us playing them in the studio.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Rob, it's great to catch up with you. Thank you for taking a minute out today, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.